wanted to welcome Top Choice Inspections. Jake is here, and Jake and I just recently met, and I did a CE class with him here in Colorado. And I said, we don't have a real inspection class that, agents are watching. That's fun. Talking about inspections wasn't super fun, but I love that they had a home warranty, and I love their outlook on it. So, he came up with the good, the bad, and the leaky. And then so I think the whole purpose of this class was to help kind of educate you guys on them being the experts, to know what to look for when you go out, to give you a little bit more confidence. And most importantly, to just, be more well-informed. And so we also have a, Carter's not on, but from, let's see, he is our title rep down in Colorado Springs, and he's from First American Title. So he's also here sponsoring the event. So Jake, thank you so much for coming on. I'm actually really, really looking forward to this talk. You guys are going to have a lot of fun. Jake, did you have fun creating this talk?
I did. I had a lot of fun and really just kind of diving into inspections and really just trying to make it fun. And I'm sure whenever you guys have sat through a home inspector presentation, it's like, oh my gosh, when is this guy going to be done? Like, all inspectors are the same. Guys, we don't want to do that. Inspection process, it's meant to be fun. We're trying to take the scare out of home inspections. I'm hoping to kind of convey that through this presentation for you guys, and hopefully teach you something in the process.
I love that.
Do you want me to go ahead and start, or what do you want me to do, Tanya?
Yeah, I'd love for you to go ahead and start, but I wanted to mention something yesterday, which is funny, and I think you could touch on this.
Okay.
There was a meme and it was a home inspector and an appraiser going to the house in their car. They're like, I'm so excited. Like, I get to go ruin the deal. Like, I get to go ruin the deal that, everybody works so hard to put together. And it was just this like funny meme. So yes, I thought I would mention that.
Yeah. And I think that could be true for some inspectors. Yeah. The way we look at it is we're more consultants than anything. We're not here to ruin anybody's deal. We're here to educate you and your clients about the home that's getting ready to be hopefully purchased, so everyone feels comfortable walking to the closing table. But let's get started here. Trying to get this screen shared. Everybody see my screen?
Got it.
All right. Everybody see this? Okay, great. All right, home inspections, the good, the bad, and the leaky. Again, I am Jake with Top Choice Inspectors. We are based out of Colorado Springs here. We serve all the way from North Denver down to Canyon City and beyond. All right, so this is what we're going to cover. So what it is, what it isn't. So what is a home inspection? What it is not. Misunderstanding of defects, which is, it can be a deal breaker for some people, because whenever you say, oh, there's a leak in your house, they think immediately the worst. It could just be a minor leak, something that's easy to fix. Emotional attachment to the house. A lot of people, they fall in love. They put on the rose-colored glasses. But then you come with them with bad news, and sometimes, that the deal falls through. Mountains out of molehills, that's a big one. And then, let the inspector do the inspecting. Guys, we've done thousands of inspections. We know what we're doing. We know what to look for. And then we're going to go over our innovative inspection reports. And then it's all about the relationships. And then one of our inspectors, his name is Ryan Lewis, and he has become famous for that ain't good. So he goes around and he finds the funny stuff he sees on inspections, videos himself, and he says, oh, that ain't good. All right, let's dive into it. All right, so what it is, so we got a little meme here, keeping it light. Got Ron Burgundy. All right, so what it is, what it isn't. So a home inspection, it's a non-invasive. So we can't be cutting holes in walls, things like that. We can't move furniture without permission. And it's just an examination of the accessible areas. It identifies defects within a specific system defined our InterNACHI SOPs. So we have an SOP that we follow that through the International Association of Home Inspectors, and we follow that to a T. So whatever it says in that SOP, that's what we do. And this is the big one right here. So a home inspection is a snapshot in time of a home. So at the time of inspection, whenever we're recording our defects, we always say at the time of inspection, because while we're there, the water heater could be working great, but literally as soon as we leave, it could fail. And that wouldn't be in the inspection report. But then, we would have proof that it was working at the time of inspection. So what it isn't, it's not technically exhaustive. If it was technically exhaustive, and what I mean by that is we're not going to find everything wrong with the house. If you wanted us to do that, we'd be there all day, probably 8 hours easily, and a home inspection would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So we're there for about 2 hours. We have certain things that we look for, and we go through and we write those things up. It will not identify concealed or latent defects. One good example is like a rodent infestation, if they're like inside the walls or things like that, or if there's a leak behind a wall that we can't see with thermal or anything, with our eyes or anything like that, something that's hidden. Obviously, we can't see it, so we can't report on it. And right here, so it will not reveal every issue that exists or ever could exist, but only defects observed on the date of the inspection. And then here's another big one. It's not a prediction of future conditions. So we can't tell you, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't say, hey, this water heater or furnace is going to fail 6 months from now. We always get people calling, hey, you guys said my furnace is fine, but now it's not working. Why didn't you write that up? And then they're all mad. Well, it was working whenever we inspected the house. So that's the important thing there. Things do break in homes. A lot of times it's up to the client to take care of their home. Oh, I am sorry. That got all the way. Here we go. All right, so misunderstanding of defects. So like I said, this can be a deal breaker. When you say that there's a leak or a crack, oftentimes buyers fear the worst. So the biggest thing with that, so foundations scare everybody. Leaks scare everybody because you say a leak and then they immediately think of mold. Foundations, you say there's cracking, they think the house is going to fall down and it's going to be a $70,000 fix, which could be the case sometimes. Most of the time, though, cracks just need to be sealed. Leaks just need to be fixed properly. It's probably just a loose P-trap or just something very minor. And that's where our reports come in, is we can actually explain it in our reports. So I'm just going to pull up our report here. So this is Tagster software. This is actually created by our owner, Mark Jones. He's been in the industry since 2009. He's used several different inspection softwares, and he kind of took what he liked from each one of those and created our own inspection software. We're the only inspection company in the US that I know of that has our own software. What this does is it makes us move a lot more efficiently through the home. So normally an inspection that takes 4 hours takes us 2 hours. So here's just a sample. Yeah.
So for those of you that are watching, they are in Colorado Springs, they're in Denver, they're all over Colorado. This is, if you're in Colorado, use him, but I also asked him, this is an overview of inspections. So if you're like, why am I watching this if I'm not in Colorado? He's going to do an overview, but also let you know the tools that they use. And then you can go back and ask, your inspectors over there if they want to use this tool. Right, Jake?
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just going to make your inspector operate a lot more efficiently. The reports are cleaner. It has an executive summary, as you'll see here. So this is what it looks like. So this is kind of the layout. So as you go through, instead of having to go through the whole report to find all the defects, we have a summary just right at the top here. And you can see we found 68 defects with this house, and you just go through, you're like, oh, okay. play a video. So
And is
it's
that software what allows you guys to get in your car and get this done immediately? Is this why you guys are so fast?
that this is why we're so fast. We're filling out the report while we're on site, and you'll have the report sent to you by the time we walk out the door, if not shortly after. So it's all same day reports. You go through, and this is a big thing that we added to Tagster is there's a save function. So you go through, you have your client, you can just tell your client, say, hey, go through the report, hit save on all the things that they want fixed. And then as a realtor, you just hit this button and it has everything that they want fixed right in front of you. And you just copy and paste that into your inspection objection. So it's really cool software. I do encourage, all inspectors to use it. It's very innovative. And honestly, I've used a bunch of different softwares, and this is by far the fastest and most reliable and easiest to use. All right, emotions. So you finally found your clients their perfect home. They're completely psyched about it. They're soon to be pad. And then they put those rose-colored glasses on. This is our house. This is perfect. They're getting that emotional attachment. They think the house is the most amazing thing ever. But the thing is they're having a certain expectation going into this house, thinking that it's the most amazing thing ever. And then you come and say, hey, and unfortunately, I did find some cracking in the foundation, some horizontal cracks, some walls are bowing, things like that. So, that can break a deal. So they're expecting X, which is an amazing house, but then they're seeing it's Y and they're like, oh man, I don't know if I want to take this on. But again, it's up to them if they want to take this on. They could see a diamond in the rough and decide, hey, yeah, there is some issues with the house, but we can fix it. It's completely up to them. But as realtors, you kind of guide them based on the inspection report and with all your experience, tell them if it's a good buy or not. Mountains out of molehills. So this is probably the biggest thing in the inspection world. It's mountains out of molehills. Fortunately, a lot of home inspectors do make mountains out of molehills. There's an inspection company here in Colorado Springs that there's a sticker that goes on the garage door opener that says caution. If that sticker is not there, they write it up as a health and safety. It's like, come on, is that really a health and safety? Probably not. But foundation cracks, plumbing leaks, like I said, garage door stickers, decks. The biggest thing why home inspectors make mountains out of molehills is because they don't want to get sued, or they've been sued in the past. And they're thinking, well, I just need to make a big deal out of everything just so nothing comes back on me. And that's what they do. At Top Choice Inspectors, we don't think like that. We're very, very thorough, and we're going through and we're finding things that actually matter. We're not calling out the things that don't matter. And we just know with our process that we won't get sued because we're finding the things that matter, the big things, right? As home inspectors, hey, like I said earlier, we've done thousands of inspections. Personally, I've done probably 1,500. Mark has done 10,000 plus. All of our guys on our team have done thousands and thousands of inspections. But what we see time and time again, realtors, they'll make remarks to their clients saying, oh, that cracking, I don't know, that doesn't look good. Or, this siding, that doesn't look good. Whatever it is, try to refrain from saying anything like that, because what you're doing is you're just kind of putting your client up in arms. Wait for us, the professional, to go in there and give a thorough evaluation of the house before anything is said, because that foundation crack, it probably, chances are, just needs to be sealed, or just some minor maintenance on the exterior, just an easy fix. and most likely not even a big issue, but they'll be up in arms and they won't feel good about the house going into the home inspection if those things are said prior to the home inspection. Any questions on that?
Like it.
Relationships, guys, this is big. As you all know, real estate industry is all about relationships. You know, develop a good relationship with your inspector. If you're using the inspector on almost all of your inspections, you know what to expect from that inspector. You know how he's going to write up certain things, and it's just going to ease your mind going into the inspection. Because say you use a different inspector on every home inspection, you don't know. It's the fear of the unknown. Is this guy going to ruin my deal? What's going to happen? To use the same guy on every inspection, you know, hey, he's not going to bring this to my attention. My inspector's not going to bring this to my attention if it's not something that's big or a deal breaker. So that's the big thing. And at the end of our inspections, we go through the report, and really we just touch on like the big things, right? The leaky water heater, the major foundation cracks, whatever it is. We're not going to go through and point out, yeah, there's some paint imperfections on the interior door, so things like that. So get to know your inspector, develop that relationship. I know all the realtors I work with, you know, I try to talk to them about anything but inspections. I like to get to know them, know their families, their kids. You know, what are their kids doing? Is little Johnny playing football this weekend? You know, really get to know realtors that we work with. So it's so much more than just an inspection. It's a relationship, because ultimately we need each other. We're here for each other. This is a big one that we just started offering. So for those of you that are in Colorado, we do offer a 30-day home warranty. It's through Guard Home Warranties. And the main thing why we went with this company is, A, they don't sell our clients information, which is big, but there's no age restrictions. So your client could be moving into an older house that has a 20-year-old water heater that's still working. That thing could fail tomorrow, you know. But with this warranty, no age restrictions. So we pick up the tab for the first 30 days, and then they have the option to continue that service, and they could just do like a monthly plan, a quarterly plan, or a yearly plan. It's actually quite cost effective, like $45 a month to cover your water heater and all your major systems. And then these are just some fun things. So this is Ryan. So this is our That Ain't Good guy. And he has gone viral on TikTok and several other. He's on Instagram, TikTok, and he's become a legend. Just funny things. It's just some of the funny things we see on home inspections. So that's a downspout draining near the house. That's what it does if a downspout is draining near a house. This one's pretty good too. Yeah, so that's my presentation, guys. Short and sweet, and I hope I kind of brought some light to what we as home inspectors were thinking on home inspections. And, you know, really, if you guys are in Colorado, we'd love to partner with you and work with you. But does anybody have any questions for me?
I have some that might help people. So obviously the home inspection, the time frame of the home inspection is important. So when you're writing up the offer, you know, you want to get the inspector out there as soon as possible. And one thing that we recommend is if you have a buyer that's very serious and you want to win this offer, if there's low inventory in your market, it's really a competitor's buyer market, you want to call your inspector or go on their website and see if they're available, and make sure that you, like, if you put, we will do an inspection within the first week, or we'll do an inspection within 3 days, those kinds of things. Those are the types of things that can actually win an offer. Because the thing is a lot of times the home inspection can be the thing that makes the deal fall apart. Because if there is something, now they got to start negotiating. Who's paying for it, right? Are you going to give me a credit? Is the seller going to pay for it? Is the buyer going to pay for it? And it is out-of-pocket expenses sometimes that the buyer is not expecting, or the seller isn't expecting to take out of their equity. So can you speak to that, Jake, about, the relationship and like how important is that to have the inspection done sooner than later?
Absolutely. Getting the inspection done as soon as possible is critical in a lot of cases. And that's why we have hired so many inspectors. So there's a total of 11 of us. So we can always get you in next day. If it's a huge, if you're needing it sooner than that, you can easily give me a call and I can make something happen for you same day in some instances. Because sometimes, people are going out of town or they're getting ready to go on vacation and they need to get this inspection done before they head out of town. I'm actually doing one tomorrow for that same reason. We're booked up. Realtor gave me a call, said, "Hey, Jake, I really need you to do me a favor and do an inspection for me tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Can you do that for me?" Absolutely. We got you. No problem at all. But yeah, getting that in next day, do the inspection, and then you'll have the report right after the inspection. So it's giving you time to go over that report. You're not having to wait days for the inspection report to get back to you, because a day or two is an eternity in the real estate, especially in this market. It's very competitive. And the quicker you have the information you need, the better it is for everybody.
Yeah, so with that said, and I'm going to actually have Hisela, who has sold hundreds of homes, talk to you about like her experience with using them and other inspectors. But with that said, those of you who are not in if you're in Colorado, you need to connect with Jake. He has inspectors up here in Denver. And then if you're watching this and you're a brokerage and you want to have him come out and do a talk, he agreed to do that for brokerages. But if you are not in Colorado and you have not developed a relationship with an inspector, first and foremost, you need to go ask around who's the top inspection company in this area. You need to call them and introduce yourself, and you need to start asking them how they work. I'm just wondering, like, what's your process? Do I have to order online? In this market, like, if I have to write an offer on a weekend, is there somebody to come out on a weekend to do an inspection? They have a weekend crew. So these are the questions you're going to want to ask. And then when the inspection is done, how quickly do I get it? Because when I was selling, it was on paper. We didn't get it for 48 hours. And then it was scribbled and we couldn't find everything. And that was not as effective. And then the last thing is, if they are a really big inspection company, you should ask them, have you thought about using Tagster? And maybe Jake, what you could do is you could put, do you have a link of who uses Tagster? Because you have how many people on your program right now?
There's around 400 inspectors across the country using Tagster right now.
Okay, so Deidre asked if you have somebody in Los Angeles. So what you guys could do is you could actually go and find the Tagster inspectors, and now right? You have a better system. They're innovative. They're going to get it to you faster. What would be the process for them to find someone that is licensed?
I would have to. You can reach out to me directly. If you just click on the QR code that's right here on your screen, that'll take you to our website. If you call that number that's on there, you can get a hold of me. And what I would have to do is I would just have to get a list from our owner, Mark, of all the home inspectors in the nation that is using Tagster currently. And then I can give you direction on who is using it, and hopefully you can go from there.
Yeah, I think that actually would be great for your future growth.
Absolutely.
This is my sales brain. I keep talking.
Sure. Oh yeah.
This is how you can get more business, and this is how you can do this. Yeah, because you could send it out and then they could say, well, there's nobody here, but I'd love to talk to that, show them your product. And maybe you can create an affiliate link for someone
Sure.
that's like, hey, you know, if you refer someone, we'll give you $100 or 50. I don't know what it is, but anyways, that's your thing. He sell
Absolutely.
it. I love it. He sell it. What would you
Hey,
say?
Tanya.
Hello. Give us a little bit background about how many homes you've sold so people understand. And what would you have to say about home inspections, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and why it's important to use somebody like them?
So I've been in real estate since 2019. And in that time, I think I've done just over 340 homes, something like that. So, but I met Mark and Jake with Top Choice really early on during my career, which I got very fortunate. I actually asked my managing broker who his favorite inspector was, and that's how I met Mark. He did one of my first inspections. I've had him come and personally inspect my own home because we didn't have an inspection when we bought. And I also have had him inspect when we bought my daughter's home. We had him inspect there. We, like, all of my close friends and families have used him when they bought their homes. But I think it goes back to what Jake said. It's more about the relationship you have with the inspector, and that you know that they're not going to scare your clients, because every house is going to have something wrong with it, whether it be a new build or an older home. And everything in a house that is wrong is typically fixable. It's just a matter of how much money do you or does the seller want to spend to fix it, right? So even like the worst foundation problems, there's an option to fix that. It's just, are you willing to take that on? So, or a sewer line or whatever. And it really comes down to like the inspector's way of speaking with the client and helping them not feel so afraid.
I like that. I like that. And what have you seen where in your career early on, you've sold these homes where you might have uh, evolved in your dramatic approach to you know, things that are happening in the house? What is your experience as now from a newer agent to an experienced agent as it relates to these inspections?
Um, I am still known for calling my inspector or even my like electrician or something. If we're seeing something funky during a walkthrough, I just make the phone call right then and there. I'll be like, hey, Mark, I'm gonna send you some pictures. Is this something that might be a deal breaker for my clients? And, he's always quick to answer me, and he'll be like, no, that's not a big deal. Like one time there was a furnace that was literally installed upside down when we walked through the home. And I was like, is this weird? And then he's like, actually, they probably just didn't turn the sticker on or turn the sticker over, but you can install it upside down that way and it'll still run just fine. So
Interesting. Interesting.
yeah, so you learn stuff from them, and it helps put your client's mind at ease if they like everything but about the house except for maybe that one crack in the corner that they're like, is this a deal breaker?
I love it. And then Jake, did you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always available for all of our realtors that we work with, and several of them do, give us a call. And that's important to have that relationship with your inspector so you can do that. Give your inspector a call so you can actually have a a good explanation of what's going on with that crack, or oh, that furnace is fine, it's just installed upside down, but it's fine, it's going to work great, so no big deal there. So yeah, you can put your client's mind at ease right then and there, instead of having them going home and googling, can you run a furnace upside down, and really escalating everything in their mind. Just get it done right then and there. And that's what we do for all of our realtors.
Can you please touch on what would be your suggestion and your approach to when you find something wrong, let's say like a specialty area, you know, the roof, the pool, the plumbing, those kinds of things. I think what happens is sometimes realtors either get over dramatic or they don't take proactive action and say, you know what, I really think that you need to get an inspector out here, or a licensed roofer, or a licensed, you know, plumber, or a professional pool guy. Is there anything that you can add to that? And Gisela, what would you like to add to that? Jake.
Yeah, as far as getting a professional out there to take a look at something, so in our reports we have different levels of severity, right? So if there is a major foundation crack, that's going to show up as a red in our report, and that's going to say, okay, so this is something that needs to be acted on. If it's a leak or something like that, so that's going to be under a repair item. So anything to do with a roof, major foundation cracking, or leaks or multiple leaks, always get an expert to go out there, because at the end of the day, as a home inspector, we're a general practitioner. Just like you go to your doctor, your knee hurts, you go to your general practitioner first, says, hey, I think there could be something wrong with your ACL. I need to send you to a surgeon. So that's the expert. So we're just the general practitioner. We find things that, okay, this looks funky, or this needs to be looked at by a professional. And then that's when you call your plumber or your roofer to go out there, take a second look, and get their opinion on what's going on, because ultimately it's their opinion that matters. It doesn't really matter what we say, it matters what they say.
I love that. Gisela, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I agree with that. I think that especially with Top Choice, I have learned that they're really great about calling out and being honest when they're like, hey, you need a professional to come look at this. And I've never once had them say, I'm the expert, or this is the way it is. Like, this is definitely, it's always call someone licensed to come and get a professional opinion out here. And then I also would like to point out on that sometimes you can ask the seller to do those things, right? Like if we have a sewer scope that has a belly in it, and now on inspection objection, I'm not going to have my buyers pay for a second sewer soap or second sewer scope. I'm going to ask the seller to get somebody out there to repair it and provide a new sewer scope. But because at that point, if I'm not getting to choose the sewer guy, I'm also going to send it to my favorite sewer guy and say, hey, here's the video. Tell me what your opinion is.
Yeah, I like that. And I think the most important thing is you guys need to have your professionals on hand, or you need to ask them, right? We don't want to minimize, we don't want to be dramatic at the same time. But like you said, let them do their job.
Right.
Let them do their job. Any other questions?
Tanya, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Investors usually bypass inspections. What do you recommend that we tell our investor clients? Sorry about that. Our investor clients, at least, what are the important inspections they should consider? Sorry about that, guys. I'm stuck in Orlando, but yeah, a lot of the cash buyer contacts that I have just bypass them, and I know that could be a huge mistake. What would you recommend we say? You know, you may not want inspections, but you might consider this one and this one. Is there any top inspections? Maybe the roof, of course, the foundation. That's about it, because they just, in general, they just bypass them.
I can answer that. So we work with a lot of cash investors as well, and they just call us directly. Most of the time, they're a realtor themselves, and they're just making the deal on their own. So what we always suggest is getting at least a 5-point inspection. So it's important to ask your inspectors if they offer a 5-point inspection. A 5-point inspection covers the major systems of the house. So you're looking at the roof, the foundation, the HVAC system, the water heater, and the electrical. So it's the big items that cost a lot of money to fix. So at the bare minimum, those are normally a cheaper inspection. It's a cheaper option. We're in and out in an hour, if that, and it gives them at least a peace of mind that, hey, this house that I'm buying, I'm going to gut it, but at least I know the foundation is good, the electrical's fine, and the roof is in good shape. So always ask them to at least find an inspector. 5-point inspection. That's the best way to go.
I love it. Any other questions? Well, you guys are great. I wanted to thank Isela for referring Jake. I love the class so much, and that's why he's on. And Jake, thank you so much for just throwing this together. Great job. And to all of you, Jake, if you could send me a list of the Tagster inspectors, like the states, then I could refer it out to my agents. That would help your app. And then you guys, if you're interested in finding an inspector, just email me and say, Tanya, or text me and say, I want an inspector in my state if you guys don't have one. And that way I know who to reach out to. And thank you guys so much. So use Jake if you're in Denver. If not, reach out to your inspector, ask them the questions that we discussed, and then ask them if they use Tagster. All right.
All right.
Have a good
Thanks,
day.
everyone.
Thank